dull, bland. The story isn't there. It doesn't even feel like they tried with this game. It's just more open world slop pumped out by Ubisoft. Words and key phrases like this is what I've seen people say about this glorious, chaotic, yet beautifully made game we all know as Far Cry 5. So today, I thought, why not? Let's take a ride back in gaming and see what was really so bad about Far Cry 5. So today, we'll be talking about one of my personal favorite Far Cry games, and we will figure out together why the game had so many mixed parties, so many mixed reviews, so many one-sided, heavily tainted arguments. Far Cry 5 is one of those games that just sticks with you. Set in the breathtaking yet haunting landscapes of Montana, Far Cry 5 is both a wild ride and a semi-thought-provoking experience for those who really try to understand this story and aren't blinded by the fact of religion. At first, when Far Cry 5 first launched, I thought I was just in for another open world, copy and pasted, exploring, hunting, and whatever other miscellaneous thing they would come up with to try and keep the player hooked into it. But when I played the game and experienced it for the first time, exploring through Hope County, I found myself entranced, almost embroiled in a story that really attacked my perspectives. The Eden's Gate cult that's led by Joseph Seed, Faith Seed, John Seed, and Jacob Seed, and all their respective little Hydra head formation. Joseph specifically, since he's the big bad of the whole game, say. He embodied the complexities of belief and fanaticism. But what struck me most was how the game pushed me to question for what I stood for. Because you're thrown into this chaotic world where morality isn't just black and white. On top of having the extremities of religion forced on you and their beliefs in God and what they call the collapse and the reaping. Now onto the characters. Each character respectively had their own little dips and downs worth of depth. From the fiery Mary May to the reluctant Pastor Jerome, all the way to the Far Cry classic Perk reincarnations. They were more than just allies and NPCs with scripted dialogue. They were people caught in a struggle that I could feel. And they portrayed it in a way as if I, myself, the player, could relate to it. And that just really stuck with me and really put me in this immersed state when I was playing Far Cry 5. And it was such a realistic experience of seeing how it's like being oppressed and ripped from your families and having everything stripped away from you and locked away by these tyrants who use religion to force you into this cave and make you turn their ways, or they'll flat out just kill you. But of course they won't blatantly say they'll kill you, they'll say they're redeeming you or using whatever pretty keywords they use for their respective religion. Now, on to the gameplay itself. It's not just about shooting enemies, it's about understanding them and understanding the way the game paints the story for you and the landscape. The game tackles heavy themes like faith, power, and resistance, often leaving you with more questions than you got answers for. Like, how far would I go to protect my beliefs, and at what cost? And what would I do to keep those beliefs protected to the best of my ability for both myself and others that share those same beliefs? Would I go as far as what they're portraying in the game? Would I just not give a shit? Would I let people walk all over me and trample on my beliefs? Would I do this? Would I do that? It's just such a thought-provoking mannerism of what you would do if you were put in a situation like this. Whether to this extreme or to something much more tame. It just makes you think how far you would go. Now, of course, let's not forget about the moments of Far Cry, where it's just pure chaos, the beautiful dynamic between the wildlife, the over-the-top missions, and the sheer joy and euphoria you get of just causing absolute mayhem, of just driving around, blasting country tunes, or making yourself listen to that god-awful cultist propaganda they have strapped into these radio stations. But whatever you choose to do, Far Cry never fails to deliver, in my opinion, some of the most action-packed, brutal, yet somehow visceral, but at the same time comedic even, times of death, explosions, actions, even story. And I personally believe Far Cry 5 is one of the better games that accurately portrays everything I just listed. Ranging from the chaos, to the tame moments, to the beautiful scenery, to the silence. And the silence, I don't just mean when everything is quiet. I'll show you what I mean right now. That that right there is what I mean by silence, where it's just you and unscripted gaming moments. Far Cry 5 specifically is full of these beautiful atmospheric scenery where it's just you taking a break from all the bloodshed, the mindless missions, the semi-decent story, the religion, the gunfights, the needless killing. And it's just you appreciating the beautiful ambience and scenery and landscape provided to us. And it's just mesmerizing. Now, at the end of the day, Far Cry 5, and Far Cry as a whole for that matter, is, as we all know, filled with missions, story, characters, some dry, some full of life, others treated poorly, like the red-headed stepchild. Far Cry 5 specifically, and their moments with the cultist encounters, the absurdity of fighting off a bear while listening to crazy preachers in the backgrounds of your truck or your car, or running around and listening to the propaganda over the speakers and to the nearest outpost to your left, to the right, to the center, wherever, are just simple moments where a reminder of the thin line between order and chaos reside, especially in gameplay. And speaking of the gameplay, Far Cry 5 offers a huge arsenal of weapons accompanied by vehicles ranging from planes, boats, jet skis, water planes, hell, tractors with blades on them so you can literally mow down anyone or anything you want and turn them into paste, minced meat. You have everything ranging from LMGs to shotguns to flamethrowers, and if you have the DLC, alien energy weapons, such as the one you're seeing me use in the video currently. it has such an array of fun weaponry to keep you entertained for as long as you want. And at the end of the day, the game is only as fun as you are willing to let it. You are only limited by your imagination in terms of how well you can have fun in this game. Especially when you have all these specialized weapons with unique variations. There's a fucking shovel launcher, for Joseph's sake. You can literally shoot shovels and impale enemies and pin them to walls with a fucking rocket-propelled shovel. And you're telling me you can't have fun in this game when you can hunt various types of animals, fish for various types of fish? Yes, those may be simple mechanics in almost any open world game, but it's still things to do and things that are actually fun. Surprisingly enough, I find myself enjoying the fishing aspect quite a lot while I secure this game's platinum trophy. And the hunting, you have anything from caribou to moose to elk to bulls to pronghorn to goats to boars to pigs to fucking wolverines. Like, there's just so much minor and major things to do to help fill that void, and when it comes to creativity and fun or simple entertainment. And as for most of the negative reviews, from all I could find, is just people not agreeing with how they portrayed religion, and how dangerous a lot of religious people can be, typically with Christianity, but obviously all religions have their bad apples and extremists. And that's where a lot of people were divided in the reviews, and I personally believe that's what made them tank over the game specifically, because religion-based story aside, the game is phenomenal. It was a gem for its time back in 2018, and it's damn sure better than a hell of a lot of games we have now. From gameplay to mechanics to NPC AI, Far Cry 5 stands out among the crowd with nowadays games. In 2024, a game that came out in 2018 is outshining countless other AAA titles. And that says a lot in itself right there. But in the end, Far Cry 5 isn't just about saving a region or regions, if you count all three. It's more deep than that. It's about self-reflection. It challenges players to confront their personal values when it comes to beliefs and choices, and shows them the reality of conflict. I personally found myself questioning what it meant to be a hero in these trying times of Hope County, Montana, and how far I personally would go to protect those I love and free my own home state under the wrath of this religious-filled tyrant who thinks he's God's vessel and he has the plan to rid us all of our sins and blah blah blah. But to wrap it up, Far Cry 5 was a deeply misunderstood game. It was a masterpiece for its time, and it deeply outshines a lot of the games we have now. All in all, Far Cry 5 was a fucking gem. And if you haven't tried it, I highly recommend you go back and play it. You will not be disappointed. I promise you that.